I'm here today to talk about process-driven design. A common theme today has been about the evolution of the vehicles that you repair in your shops. And I travel all over North America primarily, and I can tell you that this is certainly not the same repair facilities as many generations ago. These, and again, as we've talked about all morning long, the vehicles that you're repairing are like computers on wheels. I don't know if you're familiar, but the average new vehicle coming out today is 100 million lines of code. That's 10 times more than the Boeing 787. So it's no surprise that your repair facilities need to keep up to date with all of this. So your repair facilities need to keep up to date with your welders, your rivet guns, the technicians need to be trained, certified by the OEMs, to act, and all of the scanning tools so that they can repair those vehicles to manufacturer specifications for safety. So how can you do this, and how can you evolve to have your shop keep up to date with all of this? Well, this is what I tell all of my customers: process-driven design. This is actually what will help you and help your facility evolve into the future so that you can have that same consistent quality repair all the time. So what is this? Think of it as interdependent steps for your facility that all relate. Think about, what does a technician need to do the job? How much space? What is the tooling? What are the equipment? What's the products? What is the training that they need to do to perform that specific task so that they can pass it on to the next person? So again, it all interrelates. Think of it as a whole process. So you think about McDonald's, Burger King, Panera here in the States, they all taste the same and have the same look wherever you go. And yet, that same recipe that your mom made, that your wife makes, doesn't taste the same at all. You might think of that as standardization, but that's actually undiluted process. So we want to make sure that we keep that process. And so many of the shops that are staying competitive today have taken this process and used it to their advantage, because what you're actually doing is instilling the discipline and the rigor into that facility so the technicians are on a path to repair that vehicle to those manufacturer specifications. And that's what we want to make sure that happens, so that it's safety for all of your vehicles. So think of it as a puzzle. Again, how can we have all the tools, equipment, supplies, and training for that technician so that you can pull that vehicle through the shop and have it repaired, rather than just stuffing your shop full of outdated, underutilized equipment. Let's make sure we have what they need, where they need it, when they need it to do that repair. So when you have a process like this, what happens, the management, like you, could come to SEMA for a week, and the process still goes on in the shop because everyone's following it. So the show will still go on because everyone is aware of that same process. What I have today is a video for you of an actual shop that has gone through this whole process. So I'd like to take a couple minutes to show it to you. So here we go. Customer focus is actually first. So in your facility, do you have staff that in a process of how they will greet the customer, how they sell the customer, how they obtain authorization? This is really crucial, and many shops just really overlook this. So do you have training for your front personnel, and are there specific steps that they take to understand the customer's immediate need? Now you have all of these wrecked vehicles in your parking lot. That's not doing you any good. It's not making you any money. So let's take a look and see how we can improve that. Can we outline your parking lot? Can we have staging area for damage analysis, for detail, waiting for parts, customer parking, employee parking? Maybe you have rental car parking. Keep it very visual. This is an extension of your production, so we want to make sure that you have this available for your technicians. And then we start with the end in sight, which means damage analysis. Again, we want to have a specified area in your shop with the space, the technicians trained, the tooling, the equipment, the software, all available up front so that they can do their task. You can even have the color matched at this site so it's available down the line for paint and you're not scrambling later. So everything is taken off the vehicle. It is put on the parts carts. That means all the clips, the fasteners, the molding. So it's ordered right up front. If it's broken, you're aware of it now. Also in this area, we need to take a look at the pre-repair diagnostic scan. There's been a lot of talk about it here at SEMA, and this is a complete health check of your vehicle, and it provides the repair shop and the insurance company a complete report on the number of computer modules on board, as well as those troubled DTC codes that indicate pre-accident or accident-related damage. So this is an essential step. You really want to make sure that you take this time in damage analysis to quantify this so that you don't have problems down the road. You don't have to stop, get insurance companies back in for pre-authorization on issues that could have been taken right up front. So from here, all the parts are ordered. And the parts manager does more than just ordering parts. But what they do is they order the parts, they will actually check the parts, take them out of the box, make sure that they are the identical parts that they ordered, and then actually take the time to mirror match them against the damaged part. Does that make sense? So that they're kitting that whole parts cart for the technician. So when that whole parts cart is kitted, that then can be moved to a production area within the floor. Because what do technicians want to do? They want to work on cars. They don't want to be searching for authorization or searching for missing parts, right? So by moving the parts carts to an area that's specified, it's keeping it all visual. And then that technician knows that that is the next vehicle in line to be repaired. Very simple. And talk about keeping it visual. What about all of your inventory? Can you stage all of your inventory in the facility, where it's needed, what it's needed, for what technician at what stage of the game, who orders it, who restocks it? So these are all ways to control huge dollars which in your facility. Again, simple process in place doesn't have to be difficult, but you need to make the technicians aware of that so they have what they need, when they need it. So technicians working on the vehicles really need training from the manufacturers for that OEM certification so that they can meet all the standards for them. Actually, your shop will need to be required to have specific tools and equipment for those repairs also. So you need to make sure that the shop is up to date on their equipment, that the technicians are up to date on that equipment too, because you want to have those vehicles not only pre-accident condition, but you want to have them repaired to the safety standards of those OEMs. That's huge. Quality control also should be maintained throughout the entire facility, and not just when Mrs. Smith is here in the waiting room and you're trying to deliver the vehicle. So we want to make sure that that whole facility is interrelated. And so when they pass that vehicle from one station to the next, that they can take a look at the quality of repair and make sure that it's adhered through for those OEM specifications. Also, in a process-driven facility, you can take a look at any given time through that facility and know what vehicle is at what stage of production, what is ready for delivery, and this is great for the technicians too, because they can see when they're overproducing maybe in one area and they need to stop and help out in another area of the facility. Everything is visual. So then as it moves into paint and prep, we want to make sure that that color was matched up front. Remember we talked about that in damage analysis? And also, maybe do you have the opportunity to paint panels off the vehicle so you can get multiple ROs through that booth? Are those vehicles staged and ready for production when you leave the night before, so when the painter comes in the next morning, they have something to do and they're not waiting till 10 o'clock to work on a vehicle? So all of this adds up to make a very efficient facility. As a vehicle moves into reassembly, this is where your technician really takes the time to make sure that everything is functioning properly. Because just think about that. That vehicle was damaged, okay? It was disassembled, repaired, painted, and now they're putting it back together, sort of like surgery. So they have all of those components that they need to make sure operate properly. So again, we need to take the time to do a repair scan after this is assembled. So many times those lights on the dash don't go on afterwards. So by doing this post-repair scan, you can make sure that your vehicle is working in proper condition for the customer for delivery. Speaking of delivery, the vehicle then will go into detail, wash, buff, and clean. And this is important because this is what the average consumer sees. This is what they'll judge you on. They don't really know very much about structural repairs, so this is the cosmetic things that they'll see. But I want to encourage you to take your time with the technicians so you get the body tech, the paint tech, the estimator all on site so that they can take a look at this vehicle too and make sure that it's repaired properly and not just cosmetically. As it moves into delivery, there's so many other processes that need to take in place. Okay, who contacts the customer? Is there a process to keep the customer up to date? Who closes the invoice? Who resells the value? And who delivers that final product? Again, that is huge because that's customer facing, the insurance customer as well as the end user consumer. So again, the result of this is a team engagement and it's a self-directed workforce. Process behaviors are reinforced and they're sustained. So as you're aware, the future of collision repair is changing very, very rapidly. To be able, you've got increased utilization of new materials, you've got new technology going on. Multiple speakers have talked about that today. So the way to keep up with this is to implement a process-driven design. It's essential for your customers to get those quality repairs and also be able to have a safe vehicle to put their families in every single day. Thank you.